Suppose you deposit a check and your real bank app shows the money as available. You can see the balance, you can transfer it, you may even ask a teller whether the deposit went through. So how can the check still be fake? That question is the center of one of the most convincing money scams because the apparent proof is not on a stranger's website, it is inside your genuine bank account. Here is the safety rule before we go any further. If an unexpected check comes with instructions to send part of the money somewhere else, stop. Do not buy gift cards. Do not wire money. Do not use a payment app. Do not buy cryptocurrency. Do not refund an overpayment. Money shown as available is not proof that the check has been finally collected. Let us follow a fictional example. Carol receives a message saying she has won a household giveaway. The sender says there are taxes and processing costs, but Carol will not have to pay from her own pocket. A check arrives for more than the fee. She is told to deposit it, keep a generous portion, and send the rest to a payment agent. Carol is suspicious. She does not send anything immediately. She deposits the check and waits until her bank app displays the funds. The balance rises. Now the sender calls. He sounds pleased and patient. He tells Carol that the bank has accepted the check, so the prize is obviously real. He asks her to send the required fee before the end of the day. Freeze the story there. What did Carol's bank actually confirm? It confirmed that funds were made available under the bank's deposit process. That is important, but it is not the same as confirming that the check will ultimately be paid by the institution or account it claims to come from. Banking rules are designed so people do not have to wait indefinitely to use every legitimate deposit. In many situations, banks make some or all of the money available on a schedule, but the check can still move through collection and review after the balance changes. Exceptions and timelines vary. A counterfeit item, an altered check, or a real check tied to a stolen account may not be discovered immediately. The Federal Trade Commission warns that fake checks can look real, and that it can take weeks for a bank to discover and untangle the fraud. That does not mean every check takes weeks. It means there is no safe rule that says, I waited 2 days, so the money must be good. The scam lives inside that timing gap. The word cleared causes trouble because people use it to mean several different things. A deposit was accepted, a hold ended, funds became available, the check was finally paid. Those events can sound like one moment in ordinary conversation, but they are not always the same moment in the banking system. So when a stranger says, wait until the check clears, the phrase may offer false comfort. The scammer may simply mean, wait until your app lets you spend the money. That is the condition the scam needs, not proof that the underlying check is good. Carol might even see the deposit move from pending to available. That state change is real. It still does not authenticate the person who sent the check or justify an unrelated payment to someone else. Carol sees available money. The criminal sees a window in which he can persuade her to send a different payment that is real, fast, and hard to recover. That is why the first question is not, does the balance show the deposit? The first question is, why is the person who sent the check asking me to move money onward? Think of the two payments as separate tracks. On the first track is the incoming check. It may look official, it may contain a real bank's name, it may even pass an initial automated review, but it is still being collected and can later be returned or identified as fraudulent. On the second track is Carol's outgoing payment. If she buys gift cards and gives away the numbers, wires money, sends money through an app, or purchases cryptocurrency, she is sending her own real value now. The criminal wants the second track to finish before the first track falls apart. That explains the hurry. The deadline is not about a prize, a job, or a refund. It is about outrunning the check. In Carol's fictional case, the caller says the fee must be paid today or the prize will be forfeited. If she hesitates, he points to her balance as evidence. He may even suggest that she call her bank and ask whether the money is available. That question sounds careful, but it is the wrong question. Available does not mean finally collected. The surface story can change. The mechanism stays the same. In an overpayment scam, someone supposedly buying furniture or a car sends too much and asks the seller to refund the difference. In mystery shopping and work-from-home scams, the recipient is told to keep a fee and use the rest for gift cards, equipment, or a preferred vendor. In a car wrap offer, the check may supposedly cover both the advertising pay and an installer's share. In a prize scam, the check seems to cover taxes or processing costs. Each story gives the outgoing payment a respectable name: refund, vendor bill, tax, shipping cost, equipment purchase, processing fee. The sender may also split the payment into smaller pieces. Send part today and the rest tomorrow. Use 2 gift card brands. Pay one vendor by app and another by wire. That complexity can make the transactions feel like ordinary administration, but it also makes them harder to stop. The basic question remains the same: why am I being asked to distribute money that came from a stranger's check? Another variation uses urgency mixed with sympathy. A buyer says a mover is waiting. An employer says a disabled client needs supplies. A prize agent says a deadline is required by tax law. The emotional story changes, but the check is still being used to recruit your account as a temporary pass-through, but the name does not change the money path. A stranger's check enters, your real money leaves, the check fails later. This also explains why counterfeit cashier's checks can be persuasive. People associate the words cashier's check with guaranteed money, but a document can falsely claim to be a cashier's check. The name printed at the top cannot authenticate the paper. If you need to verify a check drawn on a bank, find that bank's official number from an independent source. Do not use the number printed on the suspicious check. The FDIC specifically advises consumers to use an official website or other independent route when contacting the issuing bank. Even then, do not let the sender pressure you into becoming the middle person for an outgoing payment. A legitimate payer can correct its own mistake. A legitimate employer can pay its own vendor. A legitimate prize does not require you to circulate funds from an oversized check. There is a simple reason the scheme works. Carol is not being asked to believe a made-up number on a fake screen. She is being shown a real change in her own balance. The deception is about what that change means. It means the bank has made funds available. It does not necessarily mean the check is good. Now we can replace that confusing distinction with one rule that is much easier to use. Never send money onward because a stranger's check appeared in your account. That is the no-onward-payment rule. It is a memory rule, not a legal phrase. It covers the moment when the scam is trying to turn uncertain incoming money into your very real outgoing money. If someone sends too much, do not refund the difference from the deposit. Ask them to cancel their payment and use a normal, independently verified method. If a supposed employer sends money for equipment, do not buy from a vendor the employer chose until you have independently verified the employer and the job. Legitimate employers generally do not ask a new worker to route company money through a personal account for an unfamiliar vendor. Treat that request as a strong fraud warning. If a prize requires taxes or fees, do not pay them from an oversized check. Winning is not verified by depositing paper from the person demanding the fee. If someone asks for gift cards, cryptocurrency, a wire, or a payment app transfer, stop. Those methods are attractive to scammers because the outgoing payment can move quickly and recovery may be difficult. Let us return to Carol. The balance has increased, and the caller wants the fee. Carol now says, "I will not send any money from this deposit. I will contact my bank through the number on my card and verify the check independently." The caller may become impatient. He may warn that the prize will disappear. He may say Carol is violating an agreement. That reaction provides information. A legitimate organization can explain its process in writing and allow verification. A scammer needs Carol to act before the timing gap closes. Carol ends the call. She does not spend the apparent funds. She contacts her bank through a known route and explains that an unexpected check came with instructions to forward money. That is the protection turn. She is no longer trying to decide whether the document looks real. She is stopping the dangerous outgoing transaction while the incoming item is checked. Families can use the same rule without learning the details of check collection. Ask one question. Did the person who sent this check ask you to send any money, buy anything for them, or pay someone they chose? If the answer is yes, pause the transaction. There is no need to accuse anyone during that pause. Say, "My bank requires me to verify unexpected checks independently, and I do not forward funds from them." A legitimate person can wait or use a normal payment method. A criminal will often increase the pressure, change the story, or threaten consequences. Those reactions are useful warning signs, but the pause stands either way. For online sales, choose a payment process you understand and reject overpayments. If a buyer sends more than the agreed price, do not solve the buyer's mistake with money from your account. Cancel the transaction through the legitimate platform and begin again. For jobs, verify the employer outside the interview channel. Visit the organization's independently located website, call its published main number, and ask whether the role and recruiter are real. A text-only interview followed by a check for equipment is a strong reason to stop. This is especially useful when the surface story sounds flattering or urgent. A new job can feel like relief. A buyer can feel like good luck. A prize can feel exciting. An overpayment refund can feel like simple honesty. The criminal attaches the dangerous payment to a value the viewer already respects. Carol wants to be responsible. She wants to return money that does not belong to her. That instinct is not the problem. The scammer is exploiting it. So the family response should not be, "How could you believe that?" It should be, "I am glad you paused before sending anything. Let us check the incoming payment and the sender separately." Here is the practical sequence. Stop communicating with the sender while you verify. Do not spend or forward the apparent funds. Contact your bank through the app, card, statement, or a branch you already know. Describe the check and every instruction that came with it. Document the check, envelope, messages, phone numbers, and proposed payment where it is safe to do so. Do not continue a dangerous conversation just to gather more evidence. Then follow the real bank's instructions for your account. This plan does not require you to predict exactly when a check will be returned. It removes your money from the race. What if the check has already been deposited? If no money has gone out, stop there. Do not treat the apparent balance as spending money. Contact the bank through a verified channel and explain the full situation, including the request to send money onward. The bank can tell you how it will handle the deposit and what activity to watch. Be direct with the bank. Say, "I received an unexpected check, deposited it, and the sender instructed me to send part of the funds elsewhere." That sentence gives the fraud team the mechanism, not just the appearance of the check. Ask whether any hold, restriction, or account action applies and follow the institution's instructions. Do not withdraw cash to protect the balance. Do not move it to another account. Do not send it back to the person who provided the check. Those actions create new transactions without making the original check genuine. What if money has already been sent? Act quickly, but keep expectations realistic. Recovery depends on how the money left. If you paid by credit or debit card, contact the card issuer and explain that the charge was connected to a scam. If you sent a wire, contact the wire company in your financial institution and ask whether a reversal is possible. If you used a payment app, report the transaction through the app and the linked bank or card. If you gave away gift card numbers, contact the company that issued the card. If you sent cryptocurrency, contact the service used for the transfer, but understand that cryptocurrency payments are typically difficult to reverse. These are requests for help, not promises of reimbursement. A payment you authorized because of deception may be handled differently from a transaction you never authorized at all. Give the bank accurate details and let it determine the available options. Keep a simple timeline. Note when the check arrived, when it was deposited, when the balance changed, what the sender requested, and when each outgoing payment occurred. Save available messages, receipts, and transaction references. If the physical check or mailing is still available, ask the bank or reporting agency how it should be handled. Do not alter it or send it back to the person who supplied it. Be cautious of recovery offers. Someone may contact you after the loss and claim to be an investigator who can release frozen money for another fee. That is another onward payment request wearing a new costume. Verify every recovery contact independently and never pay a stranger to unlock supposed funds. Report the scam at reportfraud.ftc.gov. If the check arrived through the mail, report the mail-related fraud to the U.S. Postal Inspection Service at uspis.gov. Online crime can also be reported to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at ic3.gov when appropriate. If the sender collected personal information as part of a fake job or prize process, review the recovery guidance at identitytheft.gov. Now let us answer the question from the beginning. Why can money appear in your real bank account when the check is still fake? Because availability and final collection are different stages. The bank may let you use deposited funds before every question about the check has been resolved. The scammer uses that ordinary banking timing to create extraordinary confidence. The balance is real, the conclusion is wrong. You do not need to become an expert in banking law to stay safe. Remember the pairing that matters. An unexpected check plus an instruction to send money onward. When those two things appear together, do not let a visible balance make the decision for you. Take a moment today to share this rule with someone who sells items online, is looking for work, enters sweepstakes, or handles checks for an older relative. Say it in one sentence. Money showing is available does not make a stranger's check safe, and we never send money onward from it. I am Ray Bennett. I have spent years studying how these scams work and helping families avoid them. Stay calm, keep your own money on your side of the line, and give the real bank time to tell you what the check actually is.